Hello, how is everyone? You're very welcome, Mariam again. Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and today I want to share about the lockdown, quarantine, stay at home, whatever it is that you want to call it. And yeah, when the pandemic started, COVID-19, um, it started in 2020. Yeah. So essentially, the first lockdown was around towards the end of March 2020, and we had to stay home. Yeah, stay home so that we will not infect more people. Yeah, and because we would put a strain on the hospital situation in our country. Yeah. So the first lockdown was in 2020, and the second one, the one we are currently in, was in 2021. Yeah, it started around June. Yeah. So the first one, it was something new. We'd never been through anything of the sort. So when it started, and people were like, you're not going to come to work, because the president would first talk to the nation and address them and tell them that public and private transport has been banned. Only essential workers are going to work. So that included the bankers, the medical personnel, people in hospitals, yeah, and pharmacies. Just particular people were allowed to move around. So we had to stay home, do our work from home. It was the first time it had happened, so we're like, I don't know how is this gonna work out. But somehow, yes, it did. I think when you have a problem, you always find a solution. We had to work from home and coordinate. Different teams had to coordinate from where they were, and only the essential workers were going to office. Yeah. So I remember my sis was abroad, and before she came, there were rumors of airports being blocked and all that. But we're not certain, and she had already booked her flight and all that. So nonetheless, she came. She came, and we were happy to see her. She had mainly come to visit family. She usually does that like every year, and we were happy to see her and all that. But of course, there was that, oh my God, the coronavirus. We were not sure what exactly it was. And the first lockdown we had, we were not as affected as much as this one. So my sis came, she was here. Then at first I think the lockdown was 2 weeks when it started. Then they kept pushing it depending on the severity, how many people were affected, and and the number of cases, and basically how much it was spreading. So the first 2 weeks were pushed on to months, the weeks became months, and yeah. So the first one basically ran up to around June, July, yeah, around there. That's when the president started easing things, because the cases weren't so many, and we were allowed to go back to work slowly and easily. But I remember before they eased the situation, like you'd be home the whole day, and then you'd move out a bit to do some exercise, breathe in some fresh air. And interestingly, you'd find even your neighbors, are all out, because the whole situation of being in the house was crazy. It was crazy. You'd watch a movie, have a meal, and and you feel like you need to do some exercise. But of course, you had to have your mask, you had social distance, and all that. So the first one, the cases weren't so many, so everything eased up around June, July, and then we were able to go back to work. And by then, vaccines were not yet out, but of course, doctors were doing everything that they could to find vaccines and everything. So when the lockdown was eased, we got back to work, and we felt a relief that okay, things are getting better. Probably some people were getting immunity. there was something they were calling herd immunity, that if people got immunity from it, they wouldn't, catch the disease again. So anyway, went back to work. We're wearing masks. We were doing shifts at first. We had to work in shifts like Monday, Thursday, and Friday. As the situation got better and better, so towards December, towards the end of the year, things got improving. But by then they had closed churches. But towards December, churches, they started letting them open, but of course with few people, and you had to have a mask and social distance. So we started going to church a bit, and I remember we had to book at Watoto. You had to book your church session before your church service before you got there. So we booked, and around December, January, things were getting better. And then the virus kept changing, like we would get different strains. We heard of this Delta strain in India that was affecting more and more people. So it got scary. People stopped allowing planes from India from going to their countries. And that was the Delta variant. And that now we're in 2021. And we had some hope that things were getting better. Vaccines were found. Some were not fully effective. Some were maybe 75 or 80% effective. So some people started getting vaccines and all that. And we started getting vaccines. The vaccine was getting better. And then, because of these new strains and that the vaccine was evolving into, the situation got worse in certain countries, like India became worse. And initially, for the first strain, it was mainly affecting people who are probably elderly and maybe those who had diseases. But these new variants, they were affecting even people who are younger, people in their 20s. So, man, situation just now from nowhere it started getting bad and worse. And then around June, they announced a lockdown again. So this was the second lockdown we're having. And then, like some countries, for them they're just getting out of it. They are working, things that are getting, they're back to normal. Like UK, they're about to let people go out without masks because majority are vaccinated. But unfortunately, us in Africa, Uganda, not everyone is vaccinated. So we are back in the second lockdown. And mainly it's because people now were getting worse. This second one affected us more than the first one, because more people were getting sick. We're hearing people were dying much more often than before. So it was scary. The situation was scary. We had to get back into the lockdown. So when the lockdown, people started. Of course, some unfortunately passed away. Others were in oxygen. And while we were there, you'd hear on social media that people are badly off. But then someone, because started sharing about this drug that was working for people that were on oxygen called Covidex. Some people were on oxygen and they took it. You put drops in your throat, and basically, you start to improve, you start to breathe better. So when people started sharing about Covidex and giving testimonies, news went around. So everyone wanted to get a hold of Covidex. Man, in case situation got bad, you had your Covidex around. So we thank God for that also, for the people who used it and were able to improve, because we're hearing cases of people that were badly off, but then they took it and the next day they were breathing better, they got off oxygen and all that. So people started buying Covidex. Initially, the government hadn't approved it because they're doing clinical trials to see how it would work and everything like that. Then when they finished the clinical trials, they were able to allow it to be distributed in pharmacies. So yeah, people are mainly trying that out. Of course, others, are waiting for their vaccination jobs. Some had got the first jab and are waiting for the second. Some hadn't got any and they're waiting to start on their jobs. Yeah, but it's a bit crazy because some people got the vaccine, then they got the disease. So it's a bit difficult to understand, why someone would get a vaccine and then get sick and all that. So we're now in the second lockdown. I don't know what your experience has been, but for us, that's what it is like here. And yeah, we are left with about 20 days. Yeah, we're left with about 20 days. Yeah, it ends on 30th July. Yeah, and we thank God for His provision, for enabling us to go through it. It has not been very easy, but yeah, this is this is our story. This is something we'll have to tell even to our children. The experience that we had during the pandemic, what it was like. But that's what it has been here in Uganda. I know some countries are already out, they're back to normal. Europe, some countries in Europe, others are back in lockdown, depending on the severity of the disease in your country. Yeah, but we pray that vaccines will be found that are effective, and people will get their vaccines and get immunity and get protected from the virus. Yeah, it's a lesson to learn to put God as number one in everything, because life is unpredictable, and it's only God that we can count on. Yeah, so that is my lockdown experience, quarantine experience. Yeah, we're waiting to hear from the president after 30th of July, and we'll see the way forward. Probably they'll ease up the transport and all that, and we'll be finally allowed to go back to work slowly by slowly, process by process. Alright, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day and God bless you. Bye.